Hello, welcome back to my channel. I had to jump back on here today because I said I cannot miss another day. So today is the 27th, and so that means I'm on my 28th day of my fast. And so I just wanted to say I am feeling pretty good. I'm still in there, same routine, and you know, I'm not saying that doing a fast like this is easy because it is not. But I am saying that, it is doable. So I am just very proud of myself at this time for continuing on. I mean, I've already planned my first meal, after this ends. Like I have been thinking about that religiously. And so it isn't like there isn't too much to actually think about because of course it's going to be bone broth, but I've been thinking about my coffee. So as soon as I can get my coffee, I am going to be very ecstatic. I'll be happy. So, of course, I want to do the bone broth. And then after I do that, you kind of have to keep drinking that until you get your first bowel movement. And once you get that, it lets you know that your system is back activated and that, it's okay to, slide other things in. So my excitement is for my coffee right now. So I haven't been able to have it. Um, but yeah, so I'm very excited. I'm actually like just the whole countdown of me just going through these days because these days have been going fast and we're almost here at the end of the month, and then we are going to be next week into March. So that is it's pretty good. So my a message that I do have for today, um I was listening to something, and a guy, he said something about chaos, in order, saying something I said before or whatever, but he has an idea that it's absurd or whatever. And of course I was like, okay, that's his opinion, and everybody's, you know can share their opinion, right? uh I'm gonna offer, from a feminine perspective, how I identify chaos in order throughout all of creation. Okay? And so, first of all, you have to understand that when you look at things, you have to understand it from, its spectrum. And chaos has a range, you know, a spectrum of how chaos is from the energetic form all the way to the physical form. Okay? And so, how chaos shows up, what I've observed, as in the feminine energy. Now, the feminine energy isn't always the feminine, just I mean the female woman. It's the energy, okay? And so I see that energy as a significant part of creation, which all things that are formless come have to meet in order to come into total form. Okay? And so you think about a lot of things, history and things in the past. If you go look up the feminine and what some of the feminine goddesses stood for, you would see somewhere in there chaos. And so, but you will always see, like, love, or you'll always see, warrior or things like that. Also, too, as well as mother and things. But all of those are in that negative. So you have the positive energy and you have the negative. And it's almost like if you see a Duracell battery and you see like the copper top or whatever, you have the little bit of the positive, and then you have the black part, which is the negative, the positive, the negative. And just because I say negative when it talks about energy, is not negative energy, it's just that dense energy that is needed to create power. Okay? And so within a woman, for instance, the chaos energy. So she out of pleasure, she has the baby. But when the baby is forming within the womb, there's a lot of chaos that is happening. The woman's body is moving, things are shifting, and everything is, making its way to create what's in this womb, to nurture, and is not a subtle thing. Is actually chaos within. Some women would know because they start throwing up. A lot of women have hard pregnancies. For some people, pregnancy is total chaos, until the baby gets out. A lot of women have complications, and a lot of women die during pregnancy because of the complications and things that are going on within. Okay? And so this chaos is happening. This chaos is, happening within her body to push this creation forward. Okay? And so when the baby is fully formed within cycles, within time, then what happens is she goes into labor. This is what type of energy the woman represents. And so she goes into labor, and in labor is more chaos. And then after she, has this moment, then the baby is brought forth in the earth in the world. And so, then what happens once a woman has the baby? Then we are doing what? Our motherly instincts take on, and that's when we are bringing things into order and stuff like that to take care of this new creation that we just birthed. And labor is something a woman would never forget. And just like when something chaotic as labor happens, you would never forget that pain or whatever you went through to get, what you have now is the product, the baby. And so your connection, with that child during those times that you create in a time of creation in your womb, you can never let that go. And so, you form this bond with it. And so right now in the world, we have this chaos that's going on. And right now, I can see where we are being brought together. And so, and if it, like, nobody likes this, you know what I'm saying? But this is where we learn and where things come into order. Don't ever forget that we are human beings. We are spiritual beings here having a human experience for a reason. Because the principal thing is to get wisdom. And if you leave without getting wisdom, there is nowhere for you to go. I don't care how much you scream the name of Jesus. If you don't obtain that wisdom, which is that oil, if you don't obtain that on this earth, you are going to leave here. You're going to see that light. You're going to walk right back in that light, and you're going to be back here again. Okay? And the wisdom that you need to also wisdom in not only in the Bible, in many different texts in spiritual texts, is also always personified as a feminine energy. And so we are here on earth. She's a she. She's a she. Okay. Everything about her, okay, says feminine energy. And so that's why we come here and get grounded. Just like a copper wire you're putting down into the ground, getting grounded by, her. And we're getting trained. So you have to get to know this feminine energy. And if you don't understand, the attack on women on this earth is the reason why, same thing. You got Epstein files, even though there are boys in there too, little boys and stuff in there too. Also little girls. Usually little girls are put up for sacrifices and things like that. I'm not saying little boys are put up for sacrifices too. But little girls and girls all over the world, the feminine energy has always been suppressed, because if this feminine energy, which exists in all of us, ever rises, that's when we switch over the power. Right now, it's overly in the masculine. Men are taking over the world. You could tell there's pedophiles running rampant. There is no care. There are people starving. If there's a woman, and you could watch women all the time. Women have 10 kids. Women have 15 kids, and none of those children will tell you they didn't go without. They had food. So I'm pretty sure if a woman feminine energy was to take over, it's not, like I said, feminine doesn't mean like female. Also, there are men who are very stable, in their feminine energy, and have that compassion and can rule with compassion. You know what I'm saying? And a man that has that balance has the ability to oversee and things turn into abundance. There's another thing about the feminine energy, just like Miles Monroe said, the late great, Miles Monroe, he's passed. He said about the woman, he said about the woman, he says, if you give a woman something, she'll multiply it. And we're talking about a feminine that is in her divine energy, somebody that knows herself, somebody that is fine being who she is, somebody that really understands, her the divinity that is within, understands the power that she's been given. He was like, if you give her a food, she'll make a meal. He said, you give her a seed, she'll make a baby. You give her a house, she'll make a home. Everything that is given, she multiplies. That's just like the earth. You put a seed within the earth, she'll produce for you crops. Anything you pull jewels from the earth, you pull all the necessities and everything that you need, the earth continues to produce for you. But he said this, he said also, if you give the woman trouble, she'll give you hell. She will multiply whatever you give her. If you give her hell, she's going to multiply that. And so right now, we can't really expect, because the earth, she is alive. She is a living soul herself. Okay? But we have no connection. We'll never know that. And if you think you're leaving this earth without ever knowing her or never having any contact with her, you're just going to circle. You're down here with this energy for a reason, because as a spirit, God is a spirit. We, even though we're in meat suits, are spirit. We're spiritual. Okay? And so you're down here in this meat suit. Your spirit is up in it for a reason. Your meat suit is anchored. Is used as an anchor to keep you here. on the ground so you can have these lessons. Okay? And so, as a spirit, you have to learn how to work through things. Okay? God, he works through all things. He works through anything. He works through those things. When we call him into our life, into our vessel, to be a light within our vessel, we are inviting a spirit in us. And as a spirit, when you you are learning how to connect and work through things as well. A lot of people are like, oh no, that's demonic. You don't supposed to do that. You're just detached. Just go ahead and say it. You're detached. If you don't want to learn how to work through things, you'll never learn how to be a spirit. Never. And that's how you attain and go to your next level of eternal life. If you don't even want to learn that much, you're just recyclable goods. You're going to be back down here to learn again until you do. That's all it's about. This ain't you just do things one time, hit it and quit it, and you on your way. No, ma'am. No, sir. That's not how this works. Because they ain't have nothing to do, with somebody that doesn't do the work, doesn't do the inner work either. So it's a spiritual journey. You have to connect with the energy of the earth because you are learning as a spirit to work with the this dense energy. And just because she's a dense energy, she's also a beautiful energy, and she's an energy of creation. If you as a spirit do not aspire to create, then what is your purpose? Yeah, you're recyclable. And so, as this, anything, just like when it comes to growth, when a seed goes in the ground, it is met with chaos. But in that darkness, in that ground, there's nourishment. There's this seed has to be strong to come up to be what it is. And so this seed is in the ground and it's going to grow, but it's going to endure some rain. It's going to have sunshine. It's going to have both. Both are needed for it to grow. Okay? So, that whole idea, oh, well, you don't know chaos, and it's all kinds of chaos in different forms, different strokes for different folks, for whatever level that you are on in this lifetime. God is going to feed it. Some people's troubles that they have are more heavier burdens to carry. Others are very light. But the divine knows what to carry to give to each person in each lifetime. Just like a diamond is in the ground and it goes from coal to the most hardest element in the world. That's how God is forming you. Okay? And you're not leaving until you understand that. You're not leaving until you understand this feminine energy and who she is in her most subtlest form to her most roughest form. But it's all part of creation. It's what's being created within you. And so hard times, chaos, is to test your spirit to see that who you are and who you say you are is true. Who I am, no matter what I go through, I am still this spirit. I'm loving and I'm kind. But because of what I went through, or things that I go through, it can always come to test. Am I still that loving spirit? Yes, I am. Very loving spirit. But, you go through something and now you learn, you know what I'm saying? You learn certain things as you awaken to different levels. And you have to realize that the love that is nothing wrong with being a person of unconditional love. It's just as you grow, you realize how people take advantage of that, and you just learn that it's definitely something that you don't stop doing. It's just something that you protect. Okay? You learn who is deserving of that and what is not deserving of that. But it took whatever it took to learn whatever that is. Okay? So you are accumulating wisdom along the way. You are an alchemist. You are learning how to transform these dark situations into situations of light. You're not allowed and it is allowed to transform you, but transform you in a way for the better. Don't ever let a situation change you for the worse, because then you're just you're not really evolving, you're devolving. And that keeps you coming here in the cycle. A lot of people like, you only live one. You go ahead and believe that. Doesn't matter. You know, you can believe it if you want to, but it's not going to stop you from still coming back here. So that's the truth of everything. That's across. They wouldn't be talking about everlasting life in the Bible or in any other spiritual text if it was not possible. And everybody has spoke that about incarnating and coming back on this earth, and everybody. So if you want to be the lone one out there and this one time, that's cool. You know what? If you like it, I love it. So but for the rest of you, the reason why we're here doing what we're doing, because if you so happen to come back here, at least, hope it can be in a better situation. To be honest, I'm here, grew up in the 80s and through the 90s. It was a pretty good time to be here, wouldn't you say? So I would like, if other souls, that I met along the way, if you just so happen to come back, hey, what a great time. You don't want it to come back at a time where, you're born into enslavement. That's crazy. So it is up to us to make that change. Ain't nobody going to come down here and save us from this mess we created or this mess we allowed to be created. Nobody's going to save us, because this whole thing is about creation. And Source is going to let us do it. He was like, create it, do it. Nobody's going to come down here and do it for us. It's like, you got to create it. If there's evil and stuff in the world, even Jesus had to come and slam some tables. Like, damn it. Okay? So somebody's got to say it. Somebody got to do it. Somebody. So it's getting dark, as you can see. I had to hurry up and come, and I was like, ooh, what can I do? Because I cannot let this go, because I was supposed to do it yesterday. And then, I let it go by. I'm like, dang, I was saying, I'm going to do it today. And so I came here and I did it. And so it's getting dark. And so, yeah. But the feminine energy. Oh, also too, about how the earth came into being through chaos. Okay, so remember, it was formless and void. It was nothing, and then it went from that to molting hot lava, And then from molten hot lava, through many collisions with other planets, that's life, through collisions through other planets, it started to get certain elements. I read that through certain, asteroids and certain planets clashing with Earth, that's how it gained things like water. That's why it gained things. It started the heating and the cooling processes and stuff of the earth, so that it could take shape, so it can take form. That's chaos into order. And at the subtlest form of chaos, they say in a definition, is formlessness, meaning without order. But through the events that took place that caused Earth to be what it is today, all those things had to happen. What's going on right now? You never thought that a presidency can go rogue, did you? But it did. But when it's time for us to bring things back into order, we're going to set things in place where nothing like that can ever happen again. Okay? You know what I'm saying? So, same thing. Evil things happen in the world, or how do you think we got jails? Somebody had to commit a crime where people said, you know what? Did some evil. Somebody had to go do some chaos. But I'm saying, you know what? You're not even fit for society. Let's create jail for these people that want to murder, kill, steal, and destroy. And we're going to set order in place by creating a jail. Okay? That's how order comes out of chaos. And so, and if you look and see in different things, how all these things happen, it's a pattern. Okay? And so it's all in the patterns. Oh, I already went 27 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to end it right there. Yes, I'm still doing good. Okay, have a wonderful evening.